in Monterrey. I said that the solution for the problems right now, I told Bush, is a Marshall Plan. And he got angry. He said the Marshall Plan is a crazy idea of the Democrats. He said the best way to revitalize the economy is war, and that the United States has grown stronger because of war.
War. You said that.
He said that. Those are his exact words.
Or is he suggesting that South America go to war?
Well, he was talking about the United States. The Democrats have been wrong. All of the economic growth of the United States has been encouraged by the various wars. He said it very clearly. President Bush is... Well, he's only got 6 days, right?
Yes.
Thank God.
That was former President Kirchner. And these comments of President Bush that he says about the United States growing strong through war, I don't think that's ever been reported anywhere.
Well, it goes to the heart of the issue, and I don't, we know it, but we sound jaded when we say it. But why does America go to war? I went to Vietnam. We went right after that. I made 3 movies about it, and then we went back to Panama. We invaded Panama, Grenada. Then we went into Iraq twice, and now Afghanistan. I don't get it, and there has to be a reason for all this corporate march to war. And the press supports it, and we saw it in Iraq most vividly. It was very depressing to be a Vietnam veteran at that time, and now we're seeing it again, and with Iran and with Afghanistan, this support of this war. There's no sense to it, because we don't resemble the Afghani or the Vietnam average person. Our soldiers have to go. If they're going to go there, they got to stay. That's all there is to it. They got to become citizens of Afghanistan. That's the only way they're ever going to make it. They're not. There's no way we're going to stay, and they know it. And as long as they know we're leaving, I don't see any victory, any exit strategy at all.
Let's go, since you talked about your time in Vietnam, to one of your most well-known films, a clip of Platoon.
What about the rice and the weapons? Who they for? An LVC! That knows what I'm saying. He understands. Don't you, Pop?
Goddamn right he does.
You Vic!
I mean, he's lying through his teeth. Come on!
Waste the then see you talk.
An
LVC!
Where's the doesn't know anything?
An LVC!
Hả? Không có phải là Việt Cộng. Ở đây không có là Việt Cộng, không biết không?
He swears he doesn't know anything. He hates the NBA, but they come when they want and they just take the place.
What's the saying?
I don't know. She's going on about why we killing the pigs. They're farmers. They got to make a living. All that kind of
Jesus!
Không phải là Việt Cộng. Ở đây không có là Việt Cộng, không biết không? Tại sao vậy hả? Sao cái làm gà của tôi? Ông nín đây tôi nói.
Đừng có nói!
Hả?
Ông mi bằng chết!
Có mà. Con mà. Ông đến đây giết heo, giết gà, phải không? Ông mi bằng chết!
Trời ơi, bà chết rồi. Chết rồi, trời ơi.
You tell him. He starts talking, or I'm going to waste more of them. Tell him, Leonard!
Người đi vùng không trong chia khai cái đảo. Tôi không biết. Người đi. Tôi không biết. Người đi. Tôi không biết.
A scene from Platoon.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, we've trashed Vietnam, completely. We didn't even recognize it for so many years after the war. We did the same thing to Iraq. I wouldn't want to live in Iraq. I mean, they call it democracy. That's not democracy. It's the same thing over and over. Why? I see I don't watch TV as much as a lot of people, but what I see is people all get on the air, they talk about our discretionary spending. They talk about the Tea Party people. They talk about education, cutting this. I don't get it. Why, if the majority of our discretionary spending is Pentagon, it's like $1 trillion with the shadow budget in there, $1 trillion a year. That's most of the discretionary spending of this country. Why is it going to war? If we're in such bad shape, why are we not taking care of ourselves? Why is Obama embracing this? And why is Clinton down in Latin America when I'm there trying to separate these countries? And we're still doing the same thing. We're trying to divide one country from the other. She goes to Bolivia, or she goes to Ecuador, she goes to Argentina. She tries to separate them. She's trying to pull Brazil away from Venezuela. It doesn't work. They're together in this. This is the first time, I repeat, Amy, the first time in our lifetime that I've seen so many countries in Latin America together, with the exception of Peru and Colombia.
And we're going to talk about Colombia in a minute, but Juan?
Well, on this issue of war, and of course the statement that President Bush made, which to me was startling, is in essence, when our government goes to war, not only does it spend huge amounts of money that it turns over to the contractors who assist the war, but also technological development always increases sharply, sponsored by the government, and then after the war, these same companies then use the new technological development to open up new arenas of business. So in that sense, I think Bush was talking about how war forces the productive forces ahead and allows capitalism to continue to exploit.
It's a hard way to die.
Sorry?
Well, no, that he was very honest. The thing is that Bush used to spell it out straight, which is why people didn't like him that much, because he just said it. I mean, often what he said was true from his point of view and from the point of view of the corporations. He didn't wear a mask. He didn't use emollient words, which is what happens now. But the other thing I was thinking as we were just seeing that clip from Platoon is, why isn't there a movie like that about Iraq now? I mean, quite a lot of the movies we're seeing, the Iraqis don't appear, and yet we know what has been done to Iraq. 1 million have died. 1 million Iraqis have died since the occupation, but we don't really get a glimpse of them. So the enemy is dehumanized, or that they're all Muslims, and so it doesn't matter if we kill them. After all, they did 9/11. And all this rubbish that goes on endlessly to misinform the public. That's what we're seeing.
Before you leave Oliver Stone, I wanted to ask you about the sequel you've made to your hit, Wall Street. It's called Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps. This is a famous clip from the original Wall Street, featuring Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
So is Gordon Gekko making another appearance? Gekko.
The film is, a visit to another planet. It's 23 years later. The Wall Street has become worse. We know that. I mean, millions of dollars have become billions of dollars. The currency is now completely inflated, and the values are the same. And the bank, but the big difference is the banks are doing it now. And I mean, it's not the hedge funds; it's the banks, and they overloaded, and we all overloaded. But the banks led the charge, and the government allowed it to happen. And we know the story. I don't want to go there. The movie is a movie, and it's fun, and it's got five people in it who are. It's a triangle essentially between Gordon and his daughter Carey Mulligan, and her fiancé Shia LaBeouf, and Josh Brolin and Frank Langella play mentors to Shia LaBeouf. It's a fun movie, but and in that transaction you come to this. For me, what's the essential question? What is your life about? Is it going to be about money, or is it going to be about love? Is it going to be about family values and things that matter, human values, or is it about money? It's like South America. It's the same thing. And the Wall Street crowd, I mean, the big guys they're part of the IMF, International Monetary Fund. They're part of the whole deal, which is make loans to people, get them on the hook, get them in. They're drug addicts. Keep them to be drug addicts. Keep people stupid, and make money. Nothing has changed since my father's day, and he started in the 1930s.
And what did he do?
He was a broker.
So Wall Street, you thought, was a warning to people, and yet you attracted
it was
people to Wall Street.
It was a melodrama about financial movies, which had not been made in this country. As he said, why don't they make a movie about Iraq? They were not making any movies about financial situation. Now they have it wall to wall on TV. I'm glad, but it's not really dealing with the fundamental issues. It's about the surface. who's making money, who isn't, right? Who's a big star, who isn't. All these CEOs make the magazine covers. I think that's pretty vile, considering that in the old days when I grew up, if you had a lot of money, like John Rockefeller, you kind of like hid. You always try to stay low key. But now it's gotten insane. There's a scene in the movie where 1,000 billionaires are listed. 1,000 billionaires. Can you imagine that? You grew up when there were 4 or 5 billionaires in the world. It's unfortunate, but it ties into the whole thing. It's